Let's have a look at the Victorinox Huntsman. The Victorinox Huntsman is by far one of the most popular and common and favoured Swiss Army knives from Victorinox, and I believe this is down to a few reasons. One being the tool set is good for both urban and rural. Whether you're in a town or city, or you're walking through the woods, or you're going camping, I think this is a really good tool set for all those things. It's pretty good for survival, and it's pretty good for EDC in my opinion. Now another reason is it's not too thick. Unlike the Swiss Champ, for example, which is absolutely packed full of tools. Of course that's very handy, but it's not so handy if you can't take it everywhere because it's so bulky and heavy. For comparison, here is my Swiss Champ. You can see that there's a large difference. The Swiss Champ being an 8-layer model, and the Huntsman being, I believe it's a 5-layer model, either that or it's a 4-layer model. Now scale it down a bit to a 2-layer with the Spartan. So out of all these models, the Spartan is probably the most pocket friendly. However, of these three, the Spartan has the least tools. The Spartan only has a main blade, a small blade, a can opener, bottle opener, corkscrew and bradawl. On the other hand, the Huntsman adds a wood saw, a pair of scissors and a parcel hook on top of that. The scissors makes it better for urban EDC. You can cut things, cut your nails, that sort of thing. But the wood saw is also good for camping and forestry, and possibly even fishing. Now I'm not going to talk about the Swiss Champ really, because it's got a lot of tools and that's its own video. So we'll set that aside for the moment, and as with the Spartan. Now let's have a look at the tools of the Huntsman. I should also say before I continue, the Huntsman also does have a large selection of colours and handle materials. This one being blue jelly. It also comes in the standard red that seems to mostly be associated with Swiss Army knives. This is the red I'm talking about, of course. You can get this in woodland camo, desert camo, Silvertech. The list just goes on. You can also now get this in wood. Victorinox, I think it's just this year, released the Spartan with, I think it's walnut, which actually looks pretty nice. It is double the price of a standard Huntsman. You could usually pick up a Huntsman from anywhere from between £25 in the UK to £35. I personally wouldn't pay any more than £35. However, the wood version will cost you about £50, but of course more work and effort goes into machining that wood, and wood is more of an expensive material than plastic. One thing I like about these blue jelly scales though, it has the Victorinox logo where the tweezers are. It's not attached to the tweezers, it's sort of printed in there somehow. I don't know how they do that. Oh yeah, I should also say they also come in a sort of ruby colour, a sort of red colour that's translucent like this. Look pretty nice. So let's just have a look at the tool set on the Huntsman. One thing I forgot to mention there also is, unfortunately with the wood scales, you're sacrificing the much loved toothpick and tweezers, but we'll get to that shortly. So we have the Victorinox main blade, if I can get my camera to focus, with of course the Victorinox made in Switzerland tang stamp, Swiss made. And this is what I'm talking about. It's a good size. You can get a decent grip on the handle. It feels fairly comfortable. It's not too wide, unlike the Swiss Champ, you have a really big beefy handle to a small-ish blade. These are less than 3 inches long, these blades, so this handle's quite big for this blade. Now I do quite like the Swiss Champ, of course. I'm not bashing it by any means, but to do any kind of work with this is not very comfortable, especially if you're going to carve. Not to say that can't be done. And once again, we'll just compare it to the Swiss Champ. Sorry, the Spartan. I'd actually say the Spartan's probably a bit more comfortable, but it doesn't have as many tools. Can't have everything, unfortunately. Anyway, moving on. We have the small pen blade. We have the wood saw that I was talking about. The Spartan does not have this. And the scissors, which the Spartan also does not have. Now that's the key differences between a Huntsman and a Spartan. A Huntsman is just a scaled up... Sorry, the Huntsman is just a scaled up Spartan for what it's worth. There's a difference of 3 tools. And of course we have the bottle opener, screwdriver, wire stripper. And the can opener, Phillips driver, and orange peeler. This piece here could actually be used as an orange peeler. I only found that out recently when I actually looked at the instructions for this knife, or for the Victorinox knives. We also have a corkscrew, which I'd recommend these Victorinox eyeglass screwdrivers that fit right in here. Just gives you an extra screwdriver. These cost about £1.50 each from the Victorinox website. Some knives come with that as standard, such as the compact. We also have a partial hook, which is another difference between this and the Spartan. The Spartan does not have it. I've never really found a use for this. This partial hook is kind of a love-hate thing. Some people think it's completely useless, some people absolutely love it. A few uses for this though is, you know, lifting up a hot pot of a campfire. I've never actually done that yet. It's good for carrying your shopping. I've done that maybe once or twice. I keep forgetting to use it, honestly. But if you've got a plastic bag, you use this to basically save your fingers. One use I've found for this is if you get 2 of these, you could use this to cock a crossbow. You can use this as a cocking aid for a crossbow, and it actually works very well. And the final tool here is the bradawl, reamer, punch, whatever you want to call it, with a sewing eye. And the scale tools, a toothpick, a standard for most Swiss Army knives, and tweezers, and of course the keyring. So this seems to be one of the favourites between, or amongst Swiss Army knife users, collectors, campers, cyclists, fishermen, outdoors people, you know what I'm saying. Certainly one of my favourites. In fact, I plan on buying more of these at some point, hopefully. I'd like to get the camel version, the standard red, and the wood grips. Now, there are a few similar models to this, also by Victorinox. One being, or the one that comes to mind even, would be the, what's it called? I think it's the Field Master. Now, the only difference between the Huntsman and the Field Master is, instead of a corkscrew, the Field Master has a Phillips driver. That's the only difference. I think the Field Master is a fairly new model. I'd like to get that because, you know, a corkscrew really isn't much use to me because I don't drink wine. I don't drink alcohol, full stop, actually, but yeah, have to wait and see about that. So far I've only ever seen the Field Master in the standard red. I'm kind of hoping they're going to release it in camo. I'd maybe get that version. Now this Vinger, I think this is the Handyman, is also pretty similar in regards to thickness and tool set. At least the length of the Victorinox is a longer model, but it has much the same tool set. I think I'm going to do a video on this knife just shortly, but anyway, that pretty much wraps it up. So thank you for watching. Please comment, rate and subscribe. More to come.